Titan. Titan is Saturn's largest moon, orbiting at 1.22 million kilometers, with a diameter of 5,150 kilometers. It's larger than Mercury and the second largest moon in the solar system. It's the only moon with a thick atmosphere, composed of 95% nitrogen plus methane and complex organic compounds, but containing zero breathable oxygen. Surface temperatures stay around -290 degrees Fahrenheit, creating a permanently frozen world. Instead of water, Titan has lakes, rivers, and rainfall made of liquid methane and ethane, a complete hydrocarbon cycle similar to Earth's water cycle. Gravity is only 14% of Earth's, making movement and jumping much easier. Atmospheric pressure is actually 1.5 times Earth's, so you wouldn't need a pressure suit, just insulation, heating, and oxygen supply. However, without oxygen, the human brain would lose consciousness within seconds, followed by progressive hypothermia as muscles and organs shut down. The atmosphere is so thick and hazy that the surface remains perpetually dim with an orange-tinted sky. Despite these somewhat Earth-like features, including stable surface liquids and a nitrogen atmosphere, the toxic air, complete absence of oxygen, and extreme cold make Titan utterly uninhabitable for humans without advanced sealed habitats and constant life support systems. Yet it remains the most Earth-like world beyond our planet, with complex organic chemistry that could provide vital clues about the origins of life itself. Enceladus. Enceladus orbits Saturn at 238,000 kilometers and measures just 504 kilometers in diameter, smaller than many countries on Earth. Despite its tiny size, it's one of the most scientifically important moons in our solar system. Its pristine ice surface reflects sunlight with remarkable efficiency, making it one of the most reflective bodies known, while temperatures plunge to nearly -330 degrees Fahrenheit. With almost no atmosphere, just traces of water vapor, it's fully exposed to harsh radiation in the vacuum of space. Any unprotected human would experience rapid decompression, bodily fluid vaporization, lung collapse, and loss of consciousness within seconds. Enceladus's most remarkable feature is powerful geysers erupting from massive fractures near the South Pole called tiger stripes, shooting water vapor, ice particles, salts, and organic molecules hundreds of kilometers into space, feeding Saturn's E-ring. These eruptions reveal a global subsurface ocean of liquid water beneath the icy crust, kept warm by tidal heating from Saturn's gravitational pull. This hidden ocean is in direct contact with a rocky core, potentially creating hydrothermal vents like those on Earth's ocean floors, environments known to harbor life. While the surface environment would instantly kill unprotected humans through extreme cold, vacuum conditions, and radiation exposure, the subsurface ocean makes Enceladus one of the strongest candidates for discovering extraterrestrial life. Mimas. Mimas orbits Saturn at 186,000 kilometers, with a diameter of just 396 kilometers, roughly the size of Spain. It's best known for the enormous Herschel crater that dominates one hemisphere, spanning about 1/3 of the moon's diameter, and giving it an uncanny resemblance to the Death Star from Star Wars. This massive impact nearly destroyed the moon entirely. Mimas has absolutely no atmosphere whatsoever, no air pressure, no thermal insulation, and zero protection from deadly solar and cosmic radiation. Surface temperatures average around -330 degrees Fahrenheit, making it one of the coldest surfaces in the Saturn system. Gravity is extremely weak at only 0.6% of Earth's, making movement highly unstable and creating a serious risk of accidentally drifting away from the surface. Any human exposure would result in explosive decompression, flash freezing of exposed tissue, and fatal radiation damage within seconds. The lack of atmosphere also means there's no air resistance to slow descent, making spacecraft landings extraordinarily challenging and dangerous. The heavily cratered surface shows billions of years of meteorite bombardment with no atmospheric protection. Mimas represents one of the most hostile and unforgiving environments in the entire Saturn system. Iapetus. Iapetus orbits far from Saturn at 3.56 million kilometers with a diameter of 1,470 kilometers, Saturn's third largest moon. It's famous for its striking two-tone appearance. One hemisphere is as bright as fresh snow, reflecting over 50% of sunlight, while the other is as dark as coal, reflecting only 4%. Scientists believe the dark material may be organic compounds processed by radiation or debris from distant irregular moons. Iapetus has virtually no meaningful atmosphere, preventing heat distribution across its surface and leaving it completely exposed to space. Extreme temperature contrasts develop between hemispheres, with temperatures dropping below -280 degrees Fahrenheit. A human exposed here would experience immediate freezing of skin, rapid loss of body heat, and cellular damage from radiation. The moon's unusually slow rotation, taking 79 Earth days to complete one full turn, further intensifies these temperature extremes. Another mysterious feature is Iapetus's massive equatorial ridge, a mountain range running along the equator with peaks reaching 20 kilometers high, far taller than Mount Everest. With no air pressure, no weather systems, and no radiation shielding, the surface remains perpetually frozen and exposed to the harshness of space. Rhea. Rhea is Saturn's second-largest moon, orbiting at 527,000 kilometers with a diameter of 1,528 kilometers. Composed primarily of water ice with a relatively small rocky core, it has a low overall density. What makes Rhea somewhat unique is its extremely thin exosphere, a barely there atmosphere containing trace amounts of oxygen and carbon dioxide produced when radiation breaks apart water ice molecules on the surface. However, this exosphere is millions of times thinner than Earth's atmosphere and provides absolutely no breathable air, pressure, or protection. Surface temperatures average around -275 degrees Fahrenheit. A human body here would rapidly lose oxygen from the bloodstream, suffer severe radiation exposure, and enter uncontrollable hypothermia. The moon's gravity is much weaker than Earth's, only about 2.6% as strong, making stable walking difficult and any vigorous movement potentially hazardous. The lack of atmospheric pressure means heat escapes into space almost immediately, and deadly radiation reaches the surface with virtually no resistance. Rhea's surface is heavily cratered, indicating billions of years of impacts. Without sealed habitats, heating systems, and radiation shielding, human survival would be impossible. Dione. Dione orbits Saturn at 377,000 kilometers and measures 1,123 kilometers in diameter, about one-third the size of Earth's moon. It's composed primarily of water ice mixed with substantial rocky material. The surface is marked by towering ice cliffs, deep fractures, and bright wispy streaks, suggesting ancient internal activity. Dione has an extremely thin oxygen exosphere, far too tenuous to provide pressure or protection. Surface temperatures average around -290 degrees Fahrenheit. A human exposed here would experience rapid decompression, vaporization of bodily fluids, lung failure, and nervous system shutdown within seconds due to oxygen deprivation and radiation exposure. Without life support systems, survival is impossible. Tethys. Tethys orbits Saturn at 295,000 kilometers and has a diameter of 1,062 kilometers, making it slightly smaller than Dione. It is composed almost entirely of water ice with very little rocky material, giving it one of the lowest densities of any large moon in the solar system. Two massive geological features dominate its surface. The enormous Odysseus crater, which spans about 450 kilometers and covers nearly 40% of the moon's diameter, and Ithaca Chasma, a canyon system stretching over 2,000 kilometers. Almost 3/4 of Tethys' circumference. These features suggest violent ancient impacts and internal stresses early in its history. Tethys has absolutely no atmosphere, leaving the surface fully exposed to the vacuum of space and constant radiation. Surface temperatures drop to approximately -300 degrees Fahrenheit. Gravity is only 1.5% of Earth's, making movement extremely dangerous. A human exposed here would instantly begin freezing, suffer rapid heat loss and internal organ damage from extreme cold, and lose consciousness quickly due to vacuum exposure and oxygen deprivation. Hyperion. Hyperion orbits Saturn at 1.48 million kilometers and has a highly irregular sponge-like shape with an average diameter of approximately 270 kilometers. Unlike spherical moons, Hyperion resembles a porous cosmic sponge, covered in deep, sharp-edged craters that give it a honeycomb appearance. This structure results from its extremely low density. Hyperion is partially hollow and loosely held together. One of its most unusual traits is chaotic rotation, meaning it tumbles unpredictably through space without a stable orientation. As a result, there are no regular day-night cycles, and sunlight exposure is completely random. Hyperion has no atmosphere, gravity less than 0.5% of Earth's, and surface temperatures near -290 degrees Fahrenheit, fluctuating wildly depending on orientation. A human on Hyperion would experience severe disorientation due to unstable gravity, tissue swelling from vacuum exposure, and rapid loss of consciousness. Standing here would feel like balancing on drifting debris rather than solid ground, making survival impossible without full environmental protection.